Hi everyone, welcome to this training on how to add a member's out-of-pocket reimbursement to Concur expense. So first thing we're going to do is log into our Concur website. So I'm going to be using a test account, but you are going to be provided with your credentials, your own credentials. So once we log in, we will be brought to this landing page and we're just going to go up here to the top to expense. All right, so when you come here, you will be on this Manage Expenses page with your report library, and you'll see all of your expenses and expense reports. Right now we don't have any, so we need to create an expense report. So an expense report is where all of your expenses throughout the month will live. You'll only submit your expense report once a month on the last working day of the month. So you can add as many expenses as you need to throughout the month, but just submit once. You don't add individual, or you don't submit individual expenses, just reports once a month. So the naming convention for a expense report goes as follows. So it's the first and last initial of your name. So my name's Ellie Heaton, so I'm going to put EH. This is an expense report, so I'm going to put EX. Finally, I'm going to put the date of the date I'm submitting this, which will be the 30th or the last working day of September. We'll create report. And now we are in the expense report, so we are ready to add expenses. So for this training, I'm going to do two examples of expenses that members might commonly have. So to start this first one, we're going to show if a member paid out of pocket for supplies related to their AmeriCorps position. So we'll start by adding an expense. Then we need to select the type of expense. So for member gear, that will be under this other part, and it's supplies or gear. So we'll just click that, and it will bring up this details pane. Anything that's got a red asterisk next to it means we need to either check on it or fill it out. It can't be left blank. So we've got the expense type. We've got the transaction date. So I know that I made this purchase on September 15th. So I'm just going to click that. And I'm going to say that this is supplies for Forestry Corps. Then it is an out-of-pocket expense. And I'm going to say this was $25. And I need to put in the program which I'm working with. So that's, I'm in Forestry Corps, but Forestry Corps is part of the larger Climate Impact Corps, which is a Minnesota program. So we'll start in region, which is just another name for state. So we'll click Minnesota. Then we'll search for the program, and like I said, it's Climate Impact Corps. We'll click that. And then finally is the grant code. The grant code is always the last in this list. We'll just click that. So we've got everything filled out except we need to upload the receipt to make sure that we can actually get reimbursed. So we'll just click upload receipt and upload again. And then we will add the expense. I happen to have all mine here, so you'll want to save it as a PDF or an image. You can only attach one image per expense. So I just double clicked it and now it's here. So we've got everything we need for this expense, so this should be completed. But like I said, we're going to do another just to show you another example. So we'll say save and add another. It's going to save that expense entry, and it's going to bring up the same page here to pull up more expense types. So this one we're going to do is a parking expense. So if you have to go somewhere for training or site visits and you need to pay for parking, we will reimburse that for you. So under transportation, we'll just click parking. And you'll do basically the same thing as you did before. Parking is filled out. The transaction date is actually going to be a different date. Sometimes it will fill this out for you, but you'll just want to make sure that this is always correct. This one I'm going to say was actually the 16th. And again, it already pre-populated this for me just because it took the information from the last expense that we did. But we're going to say parking for site visits. And we want this to be as explicit as possible. So if you want to say the reason for your site visit, that would be great too. But for now, this will be fine. We're going to say our parking was $5. And I'm going to say that for this, I am a member of Mississippi Reading Corps. So I'm going to click Mississippi. The program is going to be Reading Corps and Math Corps, and the grant code is right here. So that's all filled out, and we just need to upload a receipt. We'll do the same thing. These are just my saved expenses. Double click that, and it will upload. Wonderful. Now we have two examples of out-of-pocket expenses that will be reimbursed to you. We're going to save this expense. And now we have these two out-of-pocket expenses that will need to be reimbursed to us. So we are ready to submit this. I'm going to say for this training that these are the only two expenses I had throughout the entire month of September. If you have more, you can definitely add them as you go and change them as often as you need. If you need to make an edit, you can just double click on the line item. It will take you back here to this details pane, and you can fill out or change whatever you need to, and you just save the expense again. But if everything's good for this month, we will say it's the 30th of the month and it's time for us to submit this report. So we're just going to say submit report. It will bring up this pane and it says company pays $30. So that's summing up the total of our expenses. And that means that you, the member, will receive this $30 on your next paycheck. So you don't owe anything, just Ampact will reimburse you for those that $30. So if that looks good, we will click Submit Report, and our report's submitted. Close that. And now we're back to our Manage Expenses report library, and we see our expense report. We see that it's been submitted and that it's pending approval. That means that it has been sent to your supervisor, and they will look at it, check for errors, make sure everything's approved, and once they go through their approval process, it will be sent on to our finance department for a final approval. And at that point, once finance has approved it, they will add that $30 to your next paycheck. So that is all you need to know for how to submit member out-of-pocket reimbursements. Thanks for watching.